My name is Matt Rudisell, and I've been a business owner for the past 24 years, helping others get what they want out of life. I help people and businesses grow with the help of one-on-one coaching, social media assistance, and planning that will get them to that next level. But instead of working with you myself, I developed this podcast to share with you what others are actually doing. These people are your neighbors, your friends, could also be you. But do you consider yourself an expert? Do you know someone who is? Have you ever wondered what it takes to become that person? Well, today in this episode of the Experts Game podcast, our guest will share with you the struggles, hardships, and successes they've experienced on their way to becoming an expert in their field. You don't want to miss it, so grab your notebook and pen, and we'll get started in just a moment. Hey guys, my name is Matt Rudisell, and I wanted to welcome you back to the Experts Game podcast. Today, we are excited to have a special guest in the studio, and his name is Spenser Clark. And I want to give a little introduction to him real quick. In 2015, he took his passion of playing video games to the next level and opened Red Fox Gaming. They buy, sell, and trade games from the classic to the newest titles, along with a bunch of other really cool accessories, offering meetups and tournaments to their customers. And I've been in their store. They really do have it all. Today, we are happy to have as our special guest, Spenser Clark from Hickory, North Carolina. Spenser, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that.
Well, thank you for being here. So I gave you a little bit of an introduction, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what got you started in this business?
Sure. I'm actually a dual bachelor's degree graduate of UNC Charlotte. To about 23. My degrees are not at all in business, but they're international studies, Latin American studies, but still college gives you, I feel like, a good foundation as far as test taking, patience, time management, a lot of the skills that you'll use as an entrepreneur. I feel like it kind of gives you the focus and background to be able, to be successful somewhat. So did that. I started my business while I was in the last semester of college. My cousin, I came back from a study abroad trip, and my cousin had asked if we wanted to start a business in general. We didn't even know what. We were just going to start a business. And so we went and found one amazing lot of video games for such a great price. And we just said, wow, we love games. We love what we do here. Maybe let's keep focusing on this idea. And really the idea at the beginning was just having fun. And that's really been, the whole entire business has been having fun, being passionate about what we do. I know I didn't want to become a blind salesman or like somebody who sells like flooring or something that I wasn't. I'm like, it's not as very exciting. Of course, it's necessary, but we love what we do. We love the customers. We love the people. We get to do what we love every single day, and that's an amazing feeling. Started with $150, so we bootstrapped it. We did that, and we just kept flipping and hustling, and haven't ever really taken out any major loans. The only loan I ever took out really for the business was when I bought my partner out. The one we originally started with, I bought him out in 2018 at the end of that year. And I've been a sole owner of Red Fox Gaming since 2018, about November, and been going strong. We're in, about clearing in 3 years now with just me as the owner, and we had about 3 years before with, being a partnership in which totally different directions. So,
okay, well, I think that's fantastic. Going into my next question, I kind of got you to answer it right then. Basically, you started this business because that's what you enjoy doing. You had a passion for it. And I think that that's the best way that businesses can be built, today. If you get into a situation where you don't really have that passion, or you feel like, you're just doing something just to maybe make some money or to grow something, then you're not going to stay in it very long. You're not going to wake up in the morning. So I think your passion kind of shine forth in that. Let me ask you something. What do you think has made you the most successful?
Really my team. I feel like, I can do a lot, but I think at a certain point, our business is built on community like any other business. I feel like, obviously you're reaching into customers, and there's only so much that you can do in a day. You know, I mean, there's only so many emails you can answer, so many phone calls. You're going to be on one call at a time. And it really does come down, I feel like, to having good company culture and just a really good team. You know, I mean, and my team has been like family for me. I mean, like, I know that's a very traditional cliche response as far as small business owners saying we're like family, but it really does feel like that. We genuinely have celebrated our successes together as people and as coworkers. We've celebrated our failure. We're not celebrating failures, but we've been there for our failures. And I think my team would be my strongest standpoint for that, really, because I do feel like I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are very successful alone, but they can't take it to the next level because, again, there's a cap of how much they can do. You have to have a good team, and you just have to have someone to be able to take that to the next level. And we're actually, even now, I mean, the cool thing about doing what I've done for so long, there's still new challenges that we find every day. We're actually at a growth point where we've doubled our sales year to year from last year to this year and in general. And it's going to be our largest year by far in sales. And with that comes new challenges, new things to do. So.
Okay, well, I think that's fantastic to hear. I know 2020 has been a strange year for a lot of us, and now we're in the third month of 2021. And how did you cope specifically with the pandemic when it first came about? What did you feel? What did you think was going to happen with your business, or did you even have an idea?
Like a lot of other people, I mean, I was probably scared, nervous, stressed, nervous for my team because, again, you know, you're trying to make sure because all of them have their own lives, they have their families, and the common thread there is that you help support them. They're like children almost, they can't feed their families unless you're able to provide for them as well. So it turned into a crisis moment, but I do think that ultimately I handled it pretty well. I mean, I immediately went into, all right, what do we got to do? And I started doing lots of research on what was going on, the legislation that was happening at the time. I am very happy that our deadlocked government actually did like some very quick legislation that passed, like everyone came together in that moment and said, hey, we need to do EIDLs, we need to do PPPs, we need to protect our small businesses in this moment. And I know personally, I jumped on the EIDL the day it launched, like 2 hours into opening. And I was one of the very few people I know that got an EIDL and not only got one, but actually got one quickly enough to actually help. So, and that helped secure us. But as far as that goes, I did know that digital would be very important. We had more than a digital footprint when we started because digital was about a third of our sales while we're securing our physical retail presence. And actually, as time has gone on, we don't really have much of a digital presence at all as far as storefront because we do so well in store that we just quite literally don't need to. But that was one of the things that I was like, man, I wish, think about a moment like that. It really shows you your cracks in your business a little bit because it really shows you your weak spots because you get to see quite glaringly when it put under pressure, those cracks start showing what's going to break and what's not going to break. And, luckily, like I said, we survived it all, and good. I guess good for us is I think it's a feast or famine situation in the coronavirus pandemic situation with businesses. You either did extremely well or made it just like you were, where it was famine and you starved. And I've seen businesses do that. So, but I do think a lot of the businesses I saw close, and this is local to me last year, were businesses that I could have seen closing, even non-pandemic times. It's just I do think that, given that little extra push of less customers, that was just all it took. Because the ones that I saw shut down entirely were either people that were very old and been doing their thing for a very long time and said, I'm tired, I'm good, this is a great year to end it on. Or some that were just squeaking by with broken wheels and, that, like I said, a little extra pressure just was too much for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad I got you on today. I mean, this is some great information, and it just seems like one of the big things I pulled from that was the team mentality. I can tell how important that is to you and how that's at the top of your mind, always concerned about what the others are doing. I had a friend like this a few years ago. He's still a friend, but back in the late 2000s, where he owned a construction company. And that's when the real estate got hit really hard, and like 2010 or 8 or 10 or something like that. And he told me he lost about $600,000 over the course of that time. And
Shoot.
then he said, but he said, I'm really happy. He said, we still have a business, and I did not once send my people home. He said they
Yeah.
worked every single day, and I kept them fed, and I kept them, on their salary. He said that's why I lost a lot more than I probably should have. He said, but I kept them up, and in his mind, that was the most important thing. And it sounds like that's where you're coming from too. I'm really
Yeah.
honored to know you, because I think that is just something that's lacking a lot today, and
I do. Yeah.
you'll definitely grow based on that. So we talked about the team, and we talked about things that made you successful and this past year. What is your average work day? And I know you're not in the office right now, but normally, what is
No.
your average work day when you go into the office?
Mine, so, and this is ironic we have this talk today because I'm at a turning point for my role and the business's role and where's what's going, is that we have taken on so much business at this point that when we start, our team has literally been discussing this because I don't have turnover rate. None of my guys are all original guys. My first employees, my main employee, which I hired, very first 5 years ago. My other guys 4 years ago. Every employee I have, because we have that mentality, so we keep everybody, so everybody stays. And like I said, really well trained team. Because I feel like you lose a lot of momentum. But and one of the things we've been talking about is how much the business has changed in the last several years, and especially in the last year or two. My employee last week and me were talking. We were so incredibly busy last week that we didn't even once get to talk just a little personal bit, like, "Hey, how was your day? What was your weekend like?" Nothing. Not until we literally left the building and got outside the parking lot that we kind of like, wow. And for me, so you're talking about an average work day. I love the weekends. I love working the weekends. I know that probably a lot of owners, they do this because they want to get out of this, their business. I personally, I feel like that's the most greatest time to be there because I'm plugged into my customers. I'm plugged into what's going on. Because that is the most stressed out time again for my employees or myself to be there. So for one, I get to take some of that stress off of them. Two, I get to see how customers' reactions are, what's selling, get a good plug in for the week. My average work day during the week now is a lot. I'm getting to the point now where I'm wholesaling a lot. So like I'm spending, several tens of thousands and low end thousands to tens of thousands on wholesale weekly now. Whereas, we took a lot of trade-ins on pre-owned video games, and we're selling so much stock that my problem, what I told them is that we'll have a cash surplus, but no product to sell. And I said that we should definitely use this to continue to reinvest in the business. And I like what Jeff Bezos had to say about why Amazon's growth is that he said that no matter how big Amazon's ever gotten, he treats this company like a day one company every day. Like, he never once says, okay, guys, we're comfortable. We can just let this be how it is. He's like, no, constant re-improvement, constant, that. And so my work day is really different. I work a lot. My schedule is weird. Like today, I'm not at work yet, but I'm going to be in there and I'll probably work until after we close on invoices. And we've got a humongous launch. You've probably heard maybe somewhat about the Pokemon trading card game.
Mm-hmm.
I've got roughly 1,000 different SKUs and items to put out tomorrow. Well, not SKUs, but 1,000 items across 6 SKUs tomorrow to put out for Friday morning's launch after close tonight. And we'll probably sell out of that, I want to say, within 2-3 days. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, and one of the last things I can say is that basically, when we talked about we've had our discussions in our coming meetings, is that basically when we started the business, and I feel like this is a lot of small business, you wear all that cashier and the janitor and any role that needs to be filled, you feel it. You basically wear all the hats in the company. Where I'm at today, this year particularly, and maybe even last year a little bit, is I'm getting to the point now. I'm like, all right, I need to step more into this role for the ownership role of doing more of the, vision. I'm been doing vision the whole time. It's really like, all right, guys, I'm going to be doing what products are we going to be doing? How are we addressing our customers? Leading more of the marketing side. And now I've got my guys, I'm setting them up front and saying like, all right, you're full on front end. You guys are doing this, and this is your responsibility. We're able to designate. Because my main employee, my first one we were talking about, back in the day, you could be there by yourself and run the whole store. You could answer the phones, do Facebook, trade-ins come in. We got 2 people there that's like on a shift, and it's already crazy. We're going to 3, and even then it's like crazy. I've had 3 people, and we're doubling our space. It's just really exciting, but God, there's a lot going on right now.
I can imagine. It sounds like there's a lot going on, and your mind is probably operating like mine a lot of the time. It just it's a constant little battlefield up there. Well, okay, let me ask you this question. This is a fun question. What is one thing that most people might not know about you, but you find is kind of unique? Maybe a hobby or a special interest. What's one thing that you want to share with everybody today?
I don't know. Well, well, one thing is I love the world. If that makes sense. I love traveling. I'm a huge fan aficionado of just different cultures and people and ideas and ethnicities, and I love traveling. And that's probably what drives me the most. Is what drove me to do this business, was literally to buy my freedom to be able to get to a certain point in my life, or if I want to take a week or 2 trip, I have the freedom to do so. And I don't know, just that's probably my ultimate dream. But as far as doing art's great. It's really relaxing. I've always enjoyed it. That was actually, I did that a couple times, right? Wanted to do be a full-time artist versus an entrepreneur. But again, I'm glad to be a full-time entrepreneur where I can do art. Again, maybe eventually down the road, buy my freedom to where it's like, hey, I can do art, but I'm not dependent on how much I got to sell to make a living. If I do and if it ever produces something of value, technically money-wise, cool, but it makes me happy, so that's all that matters.
Wow. Wow. Well, I definitely think that is fantastic. And we have gotten such great information from you today, Spenser. I really appreciate you taking some time out to be here. Final question, and I'll let you know. I'm gonna put some links down in the bottom of this description so how people can reach you and how they can get in touch with you. But if you had any tips for new entrepreneurs, maybe somebody that even wants to start a gaming business, what would you give them?
Definitely do something like you said earlier. I wholeheartedly agree. Doing something you like. It doesn't mean that you can't sell blinds, but just find some part or aspect of the business that you really enjoy. Because, like you said, you got to find the reason to want to wake up in the morning. And I think that life is short. I think we make a lot of decisions based on what we think we'll end up doing. But I mean, the main thing is making sure you can see yourself doing it, consistently, and that you're happy with it. And others, like 2 other small tips I give for starting is bootstrapping is important. A lot of times we get focused on the brand and the logo. We're thinking 10 years out, 5 years out, where in the beginning, just start doing something. That's how we did our business. We just started doing it. Making money is more important than any other part of the business, because if you're not going to turn or generate a profit, it is a business. That is what the main point of it is. Not that necessarily money is the most important factor, but you have to have capital to continue operating. So, I mean, I would just say, whatever you're doing, don't get so nervous or hung up on I have a perfectionist kind of mindset sometimes. Like, I want to do, whenever I launch something or do something, I want to do it very well or not at all. So sometimes I've had to kind of learn to be like, look, it's okay to do something halfway all right, halfway decent. As long as it's good, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the greatest, but you can tweak it. A lot more people are more forgiving and just excited to interact with your product or feature or business. Don't just throw any halfway turned out idea you've got and just do it, but put some thought into it and be fun with it and launch it. Just launch. Just go for it. You can tweak it as you go. You can always revise your business plan. That's why there's an eraser at the end of a pencil. Anything you need to do, you can always hit the delete button, use your eraser. That's wise, because we're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Keep going. Failure is part of the process. Lots of failures. You just have to own them all.
Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate you being here today, Spenser. Yeah. Thank you so much. We got a lot of great information here, and I think these are going to be some tips that our users can definitely, or our listeners can definitely use in their business as well. So I'll put the links to your business down below here. But for
Thank you.
everybody watching today, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to watch this interview. Spenser Clark has been a fantastic guest, and we've learned a lot about him and his business. And I want you to come back and listen to us a little bit more. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will see you soon in the next episode of the Experts Game podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much.
Lit. I'm the producer.
I love the